All right, so we're on the record in docket 23036661. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Carwin Cotton Martin. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson.
Ms.
Karen Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Cotton Martin.
And sir, you are Carwin Cotton Martin, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding today?
I would defer to Ms. Robinson.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes, Your Honor. Are you asking? I will. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll let Ms. Wilson then go first.
Okay.
Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, my complaining witness in this matter, I did have contact with her late yesterday. She is out of the state currently. And it sounds like she's been out of the state for a bit and didn't get the subpoena in time. So she is not present here today. My officer on this matter is currently on leave still from a critical incident that occurred a few weeks ago. So I would be requesting an adjournment in order to get those witnesses here.
And who's the officer?
Moshi?
All right, that was the, all right. Ms. Robinson.
We would be objecting, Judge.
Right. So there's a request for an adjournment based on the inability to go forward today. You have had contact with your complaining victim.
I have, yes.
And she is subpoenaed, or
It was sent, it's my understanding that she's been out of town for a bit
All right.
and she might have not seen it.
all right. I find there's just cause to adjourn the matter based on counsel's representations that there have been contact with the complaining victim who has been subpoenaed, but it was not sent to the wrong address. And then I'm aware that Officer Moshi, along with another officer, was involved in an officer shooting a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to find just cause. So Mr. Cotton Martin, you don't waive any rights today, okay? This is all just cause, and I'll grant one adjournment, to get people here. So the request for adjournment is granted for just cause. And we will reset. So the 21-day waiver has not been done by Mr. Cotton Martin. We'll adjourn the preliminary examination. How many days do you think you'll need to get the subpoenas out? And
So subpoenas usually take 2 weeks. I know that the court is absent, so I guess I would leave it to the court's discretion.
and Mr. Cotton Martin is out.
Yes,
So
correct.
he's out on bond. And that was a PR bond that was set by the magistrate. So we'll set it for outside of my outside of the return. Although there is a holiday that also falls in May. May is just full of surprises.
Yes.
That should be sufficient.
Okay, let's do May 16th. And
May 16th at 10 o'clock. So sir, go ahead.
Just wondering, do one earlier because I work third shift and it's kind of hard for me.
I don't see a problem with doing it early. We can do it as early as 8:30 or 9.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So would 8:30 work? All right. So we'll do May 16th at 8:30. Do you have that date, Ms. Wilson?
Yes, thank you, Your
Ms.
Honor.
Robinson?
Yes.
All right. So I'll see you live here at 8:30 on May 16th. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else for the record in 23036661? Ms. Robinson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Wilson?
Enough of people, thank
All
you.
right, that's all for the record in that case.
Yep, same word. Yeah. Did you want to print him out a notice? Should he wait?
yes, if you can give me 1 moment.
Yeah, no worries. We'll print you out a notice.
And then we're bringing up Mr. Ball.
Okay. And then you'll be good to go.
And then your name, sir?
Robert Ioni.
Robert Ioni. I've known you for quite a long time. You weren't here last time.
Right.
It was this, so are you covering for Mr., is it Coker, Awuda Coker?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
All right.
Could you grab those, Ms. Robinson?
How are you, Mr. Ioni?
One's for you, one's for your client.
Perfect,
Leave the other one,
perfect.
please. Sure, thank you.
I've known you and your son for quite a period of time. How long have you been at the Attorney General's office?
Well, I'm a special now.
Are you special?
I've been retired for 9 years. I've turned, yeah, become special.
I knew you'd been there, I mean, since I was in practice, so I mean, that's a long time.
Days in Lincoln County.
Did you start with Frank Kelly?
I did.
Yeah.
Journal General.
So every time you get out, they keep pulling you back in a little bit.
I still stay active. Pays my bar dues.
Does it? That's good. That's funny. All right. Mr. Austin, you have Mr. Gadlin today?
Yes, I do.
All right. Dominique. So it's a Miss Gadlin,
No, Mr.
No, Mr.
Mr. Mr. Pfeiffer, how are you?
Not too bad. Can I press for a brief moment, Your Honor?
You may. I saw you were on the list.
Yep, I was put on the Lino. I have the Lino matter. I saw Mr. Silverthorne is, I think, on the record and something on Zoom. One of the conference was going to talk to him.
Okay.
But I just witnessed his family, or at least some of his support people, call my victim a punk ass bitch in the hallway quietly. So when that exam happens, we could have extra security in here. That would be appreciated.
All right. And we can also put that on the record.
Oh, I will, but I wanted to try and get, I wanted to get that request in now while I could.
Is that even a question? Come on.
All right. So we're on the record in docket 1705467. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Andrew Michael Ball. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mr. Ion.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Robert Ionic, Special Assistant Attorney General on behalf of the people.
Ms. Robinson.
Erin Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Ball.
And sir, you are Andrew Ball, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination today. Mr. Ioni, how we proceed? Did you want to defer to Ms.
I believe Ms. Robinson might have something
All
to
right.
say.
Sure.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes, Your Honor. We received an offer from the Attorney General's office, and at this time, Mr. Ball is going to be considering that offer, and that will continue up into circuit court. So it will be an unconditional waiver of the preliminary exam at this time.
And there's no time constraint on the offer, so it's not set for pre-trial, or it's just.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Just an offer's been made and their negotiations are continuing.
it's a conditional offer, so there's conditions that have to be met, but.
All right, Ms. Robinson, may I inquire of your client of his waiver of the preliminary examination?
You may.
All right. Mr. Ball, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination today. Preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by Attorney Erin Robinson, and she would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. You understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
It is, it's my understanding it is your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination today. Negotiations are to continue in circuit court. Your time in district court will be done, and you'll be waiving unconditionally with negotiations to continue. Is it your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination today on this file?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Ioni, do the people also waive their right to a preliminary examination?
We do, Your Honor.
All right. I find that the waiver of the preliminary examination to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. And I will have the parties, this is an older document, so I don't know if there's a prosecutor case on this. Sign the bind over documentation.
And Your Honor, we would also like to be heard on bond as well.
All right.
There's not a place for him to sign.
All right,
Do you want him to sign it?
You can sign on top or, yeah, it's the old form.
Just initial.
All right. I'm in possession of the bind documentation before losing complete jurisdiction in the matter. Ms. Robinson, would you like to be heard on bond? You indicated you would.
I would, Judge. As you know, the statute allows for bond to be reduced for good cause at preliminary exam. Mr. Ball is a resident of Kansas, and that is where he works and makes an income. This is a child support case. If Mr. Ball is in custody, he obviously can't make any payments or work on, getting his finances in line to work on bringing his arrearages down. So I do believe that granting him a PR bond would be appropriate in this case. And then we would also be asking for him to be allowed to go back to Kansas where he lives and works. This is an older case. I don't see that he's had any criminal history since then, or that there's been any violent tendencies or anything like that alleged.
All right, and the cash is set, it's cash bonds, cash or surety pursuant to the statute, I would assume.
Correct, yeah,
$7,323.
that is correct.
All right, Mr. Ayani.
Yeah, obviously, we would like to see him get back to work and start making some payments. There haven't been any payments on this case since 2022. So if he is released, the condition of bond should be that he start making those payments on a regular basis and he continue to do so. We do have a concern because he is an out-of-state resident, no ties to Michigan. We don't want to have to incur any expenses to have to bring him back. His credit, he did turn himself in on this case once he found out there was a warrant out. So we did not have to extradite him. But I believe a small amount of cash just to make sure he does return would be appropriate. And finally, there is, according to my file, some history of domestic violence. So any release should include a no contact with Stephanie Hansen.
All right.
No, he said.
So, Ms. Robinson, I'm assuming Mr. Ball is still not in contact with Ms. Hansen, or this wouldn't be a violation of no contact order. Okay. All right. We also want Mr. Ball to start making payments. So we'll set it as a condition of bond. I'm going to set a low cash bond as requested. So it's $400 cash or surety pursuant to the statute.
And Judge, would you also be willing to amend the condition to allow him to live in Kansas?
Yeah, he can live in Kansas, but you're gonna have to come here to finish this thing up, okay? It'll be in circuit court, so you're gonna have to fly back out here for whatever happens in circuit court. And then you can, and then for any pretrial matters, you can talk to Mr. Ayani concerning, or whoever's covering, concerning if Zoom's appropriate, all right? But I will allow him to be employed out of state. So
Well, and reside there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, reside in Kansas. Is it Kansas?
Yes.
So reside and work in Kansas. But as part of this order, part of the conditions is to start making your payments, okay? All right, so I've modified the bond to read 400 cash surety for the setting bond, continued no contact with Stephanie Hansen. And that's direct or indirect, so that would be 2,000 feet of where she works, lives, or resides, and then you should not have anybody contact her. That's the indirect contact. I'm okaying the residing in Kansas and working in Kansas but part of the conditional order, but part of that condition is to start your child support payments. Okay, sir? All right. Anything else for the record on docket 1705467 before I sign the bind over, Mr. Ian?
Oh, yeah, nothing else.
Ms. Robinson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll sign the bind over. And you should be all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Riley's our host.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Robinson, I don't get to see you anymore.
I think that's it for the day.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll be back sometime.
I'm sure you will. So that's our son.
I hate you, sorry.
So we're on the record in 24-00200. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Janisha Wheeler. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Palmer.
Thank you and good morning, Your Honor. Robert Palmer, the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Ms. Wheeler, who's standing to my right.
Ma'am, you are Janisha Wheeler, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. This is the time set for preliminary examination. How are we proceeding, Ms. Wilson?
Thank you, Your Honor. I am prepared to start the exam today. I will, at the conclusion of my proofs, be requesting a brief continuance in order to subpoena one additional witness that was not subpoenaed. But I am prepared to proceed today with Officer Brooker's testimony.
All right, are there any preliminary matters to come to the court's attention before we get started, Ms. Wilson?
Yes, Your Honor, if we could just take this matter off of YouTube. I do have a victim that's out of state and I have informed her not to watch anything and I trust her not to, but I would
Just in
rather
case.
protect my case.
Right. Mr. Palmer, any objection to this being taken off of YouTube? Of course, the court is open to everybody, but we lose a little control over